Hi, this is Kim Chambers with Texas Insider TV's Special Report. We're here on the Texas Gulf Coast at the Region 2 Oil Spill Prevention and Response Center. The Oil Spill Division of the Texas General Land Office is in charge of coordinating the response to and prevention of coastal spills. Joining us today is Texas Land Commissioner Jerry Patterson, head of the General Land Office. Jerry, what prompted the creation of the Oil Spill Division?
Okay, the origins of the Texas General Land Office Oil Spill Division were back in 1990. In 1990, we had two major spills along the Texas coast. We had the Megaborg, which was a tanker about 60 miles in the Gulf of Mexico that had a collision and fire during a lightering operation, which would have taken the oil and put it in a smaller vessel to go ashore. I think that was about 5 million gallons. It was kind of a surprise. We didn't know how to respond to what state agency was in charge. And then in June of that year, the Apex barge collision in Galveston Bay in the Houston Ship Channel. And again, we had agencies such as what was the forerunner of TCEQ. We had the General Land Office, we had the Railroad Commission, had the Texas Department of Health, had law enforcement agencies, and no one was really the lead agency. So it was stepping on each other, no command structure, no pre-rehearsed drill. And as a result of that, the state of Texas and the legislature in 1991 passed the Oil Spill Prevention and Response Act, which created the Oil Spill Division in the Texas General Land Office. It's an operation with 5 locations along the Texas coast. We are currently here in LaPorte. We also have a location in Nederland over in Jefferson County, down in Port Lavaca, Corpus Christi, and Brownsville. We have a variety of equipment. We have airboats, other shallow draft vessels. We have 4-wheel drive. We have command trailers where you can have multiple frequencies, multiple radios and communications. We have wildlife rehabilitation trailers. We have booms, boom equipment, some of which is now deployed to the spill in Louisiana. But this came out of a need because nobody was in charge. And it was several agencies and nobody the lead, and we are now the lead, and we're ready should something happen to the Texas Gulf Coast from the Louisiana spill.
Mr. Commissioner, where do most of the oil spills occur?
Well, I think there's a misconception about oil spills, particularly about oil spills in the marine environment. Other coastal states like Florida and California will say no exploration and production, no drilling here, and they think they're exempt from a spill. The overwhelming number of spills are associated with transportation of either crude or refined product. And that could be in a barge, it could be in a pipeline, it could be on a rail car, it could be on a truck, tanker truck. Transportation is where spills occur. The more you transport, the more you move commodities, the more you hook up a valve, or the more you offload a tanker, or the more you change the method of conveyance, more opportunities for spills. So these states that say we're not going to have any drilling are not off the hook at all. Whether it's a barge collision in Tampa Bay, in Florida. So I think it also speaks to the fact that the less we import, the less opportunity for oil spills. Again, the spill like the Deepwater Horizon is extremely rare. The last one was 31 years ago, the Ixtoc spill in the Bay of Campeche. But transportation is where you have your errors. So one of the ways to have fewer oil spills is more domestic production, whether it's onshore or offshore, whether it's deep Gulf or shallow Gulf. It's not to minimize what has occurred off the coast of Louisiana, but the answer should be not to stop, but to try to find out how we can do it better. What technology could have been employed? What hardware did we not have? What precautions or what shortcuts were taken that should not have been taken? But transportation is the problem, and that's where oil spills occur. We have, and the good news is, I got good news and bad news. We have about the same number of spills every year as we had 15 or 20 years ago when we started the program. But the difference is that 15 or 20 years ago, we measured spills in tens or hundreds or thousands of barrels. Today, we measure spills in tens of gallons. The volume is dramatically reduced. And we have cooperation from industry. The industry, whether it's a refining plant, whether it's a barge company, a pipeline, they self-report. We're there. We can help get it cleaned up and contained before any lasting damage is done. We have continuing inspection programs with various docking facilities or transportation. We have drills. We drill with the Coast Guard. We drill with responsible parties, potential responsible parties. But the good news again is we now measure spills, generally speaking, in gallons, not hundreds or thousands of barrels.
If there was an oil spill in the Gulf of Mexico, at what point, how many miles out, does it become the responsibility of the federal government and not the state?
Texas is unique among coastal states. Our offshore jurisdiction, our offshore sovereignty, if you will, is 9 nautical miles into the Gulf of Mexico. Most coastal states, virtually all coastal states other than Texas, have a 3-mile sovereignty. Now, what that means as far as oil spill is that we are statutorily responsible out to 9 nautical miles, and then it would be the feds, the Coast Guard after that. But it's really a distinction without a difference. We're working together with the Coast Guard, whether it's inside 9 nautical or outside 9 nautical. They use the data. We have the Texas Automated Buoy System. We've got, I think, currently 9 buoys in the Gulf of Mexico that provide real-time tidal data, wind data, water temperature, and that's used for modeling trajectories of a potential oil spill. So that data is used by the Coast Guard, the NOAA, National Oceanographic Atmospheric Administration, also uses it to help model potential trajectories. But the statutory responsibility is 9 nautical miles for us, and then outside of that would be the feds. But it's really, again, a distinction without a difference. We work together. And you know, if the spill was 60 miles in the Gulf of Mexico, you don't know where it's going to go. So we're not going to sit back and say we're going to do nothing until it crosses our 9 nautical mile sovereign boundary. We're involved day one, and it really doesn't make a difference where it is. If it has a potential impact to Texas, we're ready, we're on it.